Hello and Happy New Year! It's Jenny from Ginger Ninja Crafts, and this is my first video for 2026. And as you can see, it is a sketch challenge. We've got a new hashtag for the new year, but we are still being hosted by lovely Lisa over at the Crafting Diva. So this is our first sketch, and you can see that it has got various different elements to it. So I have decided to do a wee thistle Scottish themed card, and this stamp is from, I think it's from a Sheena. I never remember Sheena's surname. You know who I mean. Sheena. It's from her stamp set. So I have stamped the thistle using a couple of different VersaFine clear inks and a couple of the Memento pear drops. Is that what they're called? Pear drops? Teardrops, pear drops, whatever they're called. So I'm just checking. I'm going to use a square card because I love square cards. So I'm just checking how that looks for the focal image. And then I'm deciding what am I going to do. I'm going to use a very dark purple, and I've got this sort of purple selection from Hobbycraft. So I'm cutting a panel for the thistle to sit on. I want it to be just a very narrow border around there. So I'm just cutting off those fluffy bits. Maybe 2026 will be the year that I get a cutter that doesn't need blades replaced, but also doesn't get those fluffy edges. That's my dream. Anybody got any ideas? So I have done that, and then I'm going to do a little bit of purple around the sentiment border. And the sentiment, if you can't read it, says, "This'll be the best day ever." And then I'm going to add a bit of green as well, just because I don't want it to be too purpley. So I'm just cutting a purple mat to go on the card. And then I'm thinking about what is going to go on top of that purple mat. So that's, you can hear, if you can hear cogs whirring, that's what I was up to there. So I'm cutting a piece of white cardstock. That's gonna go there. Then I'm gonna be honest with you, I paused the video in a moment and then I forgot to unpause it. So they might see a bit happen twice. I don't know. Has this bit happened before? I feel like I'm having a feeling of deja vu. Is this just me? Has my brain completely switched off over Christmas? So, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And then I decide I'm going to add a bit of a pattern to this white panel. And I'm going to use this green. Here we go. I start faffing about again. Right, that's it. We're back to where we were. So I'm using a green ink, but I'm doing like second generation stamping mostly. I don't really want it to be, the pattern to be too in your face. And this leaf, this bit of sort of foliage that I'm using, and the sentiment and the thistle all came in the one stamp set. If I can find, it's out of its packaging, so I'm not too sure what it was called, but I think it was one of a series. I think there was maybe an English one and a Welsh one, and I don't know if there was an Irish one as well, but I think there was a series of them. So I've done the green, and then I think I need something, need to add a wee bit of purple. So I'm using that VersaFine clear, and there's like a similar little foliage, but it's just smaller. And I'm doing second generation of that, just to add in a bit of lilac. It sort of doesn't really make sense having the purpley although maybe it's like heather. That's kind of purpley looking sort of leafy bits. So that's what I'm doing with that. So that's me got the focal image, the sentiment, and now the background. So all I need now is the 3 stripes. So I'm just doing a bit of measuring to see how I want those to, what size I want those to be. And I'm going to go with another of the purples from the same pack. Now, I don't really, the other problem with this paper cutter is it's rubbish at doing narrow things, so I have to do a wee bit of make do and mend there. And my 3 pieces are not the exact same measurements width-wise, but that's okay. So that's going to work all right. So then I have got a little tartan embossing folder. So I am going to emboss these. So here we go, they're all embossed. And then I am going to start putting it together. And I decide that the lilac-y bits need a sort of border or something. So I decide I'm just going to run the dark purpley ink around the edge, just to make them stand out a wee bit more. It's not very noticeable, other than I think you can spot the difference rather than knowing it's particularly there. So I'm just keeping the focal image to the side there so I can make sure that my spacing is going to be about right. And then sticking them down. I think I've done amazingly not to smudge this. I was fairly sure I was going to smudge. So then I can put that focal image of the thistle down and hold that in place. Pop the sentiment on, and then on the sketch there is a little dot on the end of each of these, and I think lovely Jane Hardman maybe gifted me these. Somebody did. And I have it in my head it's Jane. So that is the finished result. Thanks so much for watching.